For a while now, Israel's only articulated post-Hamas strategy has been settlement and expulsion. From the very beginning, Netanyahu was lobbying EU diplomats to pressure Egypt into accepting Palestinian refugees. By pushing out the Palestinians, the plan for a greater Israel, a larger Israel, becomes a real possibility. We have been told so many times that the war that Israel is waging is on Hamas, not on the Gazan population, not on the civilians. However, when we realize that the Israeli plan with the Gaza Strip is settlement and expulsion, the bombings in the north of Gaza start to make a little more sense. Essentially, these areas must be wiped out, leveled to the ground, uninhabitable, so that they can be freed for settlement.
אני בטוחה שיהיה לחץ בינלאומי מתישהו, כן, אני מקווה שאחרי שנסיים את המשימה, לשקם את עזה ומה עושים עם עזה.
One of the recent consequences of the current truce agreement that we are currently witnessing is it has given Gazan journalists much more freedom to actually show us what has been happening on the ground in Gaza. As you can see, entire city blocks have been wiped out. Entire neighborhoods erased from the earth. Are we supposed to believe that every single one of these homes was a home for a Hamas terrorist? And many of us will find it shocking that with all of the suffering that we've seen, all of the bombings and shellings that the Gazan people have gone through, only 3 minor hospitals remain operative in northern Gaza. And as we know, the situation with some of the major hospitals in Gaza, like the Al-Shifa hospital, they have been besieged, invaded, emptied out. Some of the key hospital staff ending up getting arrested, being forced to leave their patients, even though they did not want to. This depraved policy actually ends up leaving the patients and civilians who have been suffering in northern Gaza, in hospitals, in a very, very tricky situation. They can no longer get proper medical attention that they need, and it forces them to leave these hospitals, move towards the south of Gaza in their painstaking conditions. And we saw very, very sadly in the case of Al-Nasir Children's Hospital in Gaza, multiple babies, premature babies, left behind in an emptied pediatric ward. And these children ended up dying, decomposed.
الإسرائيلي إخراجهم من هذه العناية.
And yet we have been told so many times that this war is on Hamas and not the civilian population in Gaza. But the aforementioned points, they provide a pretext for the forced displacement of the Palestinians in Gaza. Essentially, these civilians need to move from the north to the south of Gaza. Forced displacement, or as the Israelis are calling it, a humanitarian corridor. During the period of the ceasefire agreement, many of the Palestinians that had moved down towards the south of Gaza now saw this as an opportunity to move back up towards the north so that they may collect some of their belongings that they had left behind. To their shock and to their horror, not only did they find strewn dead bodies, decomposing bodies all over the floor, but they were actually shot at by Israeli snipers. And this has been reported by the journalist Mu'taz Azaiza.
Behind me, there is a lot of people are evacuating Gaza City. There is a lot of Israeli snipers. There is also a man, he got shot in his leg and he is on the ground. Everyone is trying to get him out from there. The Israeli sniper keeps shooting on him.
Again, is this a war against Hamas, or is this military aggression against the civilian population of Gaza, forcing them to move and free Gaza for Israeli settlement? Terror bombing campaigns were used extensively in the Second World War to increase the cost of war on the civilian populations. And one of the reasons for this was to make people more likely to inform on their own governments, bringing about a situation of total surrender, making it more easier for total surrender. The terror bombing campaign in Gaza serves as a dual purpose. Arguably, not only is it designed to lure Gazans into handing over critical information, but it is also designed to make Gaza uninhabitable. No schools, no hospitals, no homes, forcing the population in Gaza to leave Gaza, making it uninhabitable. Perhaps the Israelis will call this in the future voluntary migration.